Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Chris Lee Kennedy, and this is the show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me as always is AMC Movie News Senior Editor, Mr. John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the show, coming to you from the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California. We're so glad you decided to make us a part of your day.
And sitting next to John, we also have AMC Movie News Editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Hey, hey, hey. Lovely to be back in the hot seat with you, John.
A little taller today.
A little taller today, yes.
On the other side of the table, we have AMC Movie News Entertainment correspondent, Erin Darling.
Hello, and good to see you guys. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving.
And of course, our AMC Movie News production manager, Mr. Dennis Sen.
Hey guys, we got a packed house again.
Woo.
2 days in a row.
Full table.
A few days ago, this image made its way online showing a new Amazing Spider-Man 2 posters featuring Electro, Green Goblin, and Rhino all facing off against the web slinger. It has been assumed that actor Chris Cooper was the Goblin, but this new picture showing us a zoomed-in view of Goblin from the poster looks very little like Cooper and more like Dane DeHaan, who is playing Harry Osborn in the film. On top of that, a new cast list for the movie was just released, and Chris Cooper's name is no longer on it. John, is Chris Cooper no longer in the film?
You know, I got a feeling he's not. I mean, the fact, look, let's go back a little bit. A couple of weeks ago, Chris Cooper talked about how, yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is just because he's playing Norman Osborn, it's just the beginning, really, of my character. It's going to be building up for something bigger in The Amazing Spider-Man 3. Couple that with the fact that his name just disappeared off their cast list, and the fact that another actor, Shailene Woodley, was going to be in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and is now not. They're postponing her to Spider-Man 3 to make room for what they consider more important stuff at this moment in time. It seems to reason that Chris Cooper, maybe they've just bumped him into Spider-Man 3 and he's not going to appear, or maybe at the very most kind of a cameo. The picture of Goblin, though, that zoomed-in picture of Goblin, yeah, that is clearly, if it had to be Chris Cooper or Dane DeHaan, it's clearly Dane DeHaan. Of course, my first guess would have been Willem Dafoe. when you look at the face, it looks more like Willem Dafoe. But yeah, my guess is they probably pulled a Shailene Woodley with Chris Cooper and moved him into the third one. We don't know that for sure. Just my guess. Amy Rose, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the cast list removing his name is the most indicative thing here. I mean, pictures, whatever. I mean, Dane and Chris kind of look similar. So I don't really think that's too telling. But first of all, I love that picture. I think it's really, really badass, and I'm really excited about this film. And Shailene, I mean, that made sense for the production to move Mary Jane. There was already just too much going on. I want to finish the Gwen Stacy plotline. There's a lot going on here, so I thought that was a really smart move. But if you are going to introduce the Green Goblin, and it is going to be Norman first, hopefully.
It doesn't look like it, though.
It doesn't look like it, but I don't feel like they would bring him into the third and start to hint that the Green Goblin's going to make an appearance with Harry, who, you know, is his successor. I don't know. It's all a little interesting, but I'm a little disappointed. I thought Chris and Dane were going to be a really good father-son duo, and I really do like Norman Osborn as a character. But if he's off the cast list, I think that's a pretty concrete situation saying he's no longer in the picture. So whether he pops up in the third or not, we'll see, but I don't think we're going to see him in the second one.
Dennis?
Yeah, when I looked at that zoomed-in picture, I couldn't tell if it was Chris or Dane. And like you, I was like, is that Willem Dafoe? Is he coming back for a second time? And also, the only reason I would say it looks more like Dane is just because it has a younger looking face compared to Chris Cooper. But all this, if it's Harry first and not Norman, like, it's all confused and weird because, okay, then what happens with Gwen Stacy? Because we all know that it's supposed to be it's supposed to be Norman, not Harry, and why are they introducing Harry first as Green Goblin? So I don't know. I'm just a little confused, I guess, because I'm so used to what happens in the comic books.
Yeah.
Right. Erin?
Well, I think that he's not going to be in this movie, and I think the next installment that we're going to see is going to be very villain-heavy. It looks like they're really moving toward the Sinister Six plotline, which I'm kind of excited about, although we know in the past sometimes too many villains kind of ruin things a little bit. But in this case, I'm really excited to see what happens because I want more villains, and that's all Sony can do, really, when you think about the rights to characters that they have. So in terms of Spider-Man, they got to make it work in that plotline, and they're really manipulating things, and they have to. It's all they have to work with.
I want Venom done right. Just give me
I want
Venom
Venom
done
too,
right.
and I
that
want
was such
She-Venom.
a ridiculous
Venom
situation.
and
Venom.
Carnage and so many villainous ways they can go. All right, what's next?
Can I just say that I don't care if he's in it or not. I just can't wait for another Spider-Man because I love this installment of the franchise.
Me too.
It's great.
Me too.
It looks like the summer of 2015 just got a little bit more crowded. Universal Pictures has just announced that Bourne 5 will hit AMC theaters everywhere on August 14th, 2015. Bourne 5 will be directed by Justin Lin, who also directed several of the Fast and Furious movies, including the most recent Fast and Furious 6. Jeremy Renner is also set to return as Aaron Cross. Amy Rose, what do you think of Bourne 5 in the summer of 2015?
I think summer is a very good spot for an action-heavy film like that. I'm not surprised that they're making another one. Obviously, the film made a lot of money, but I can't say I'm not excited about it. I thought, Jeremy Renner is a fantastic actor. I really like him as an action star, but that film felt really flat, especially compared to the Paul Greengrass and Matt Damon films, in my opinion. I just thought the overall plot and the characters were just not nearly as interesting. It wasn't very strong, in my opinion. I liked Matt Damon's whole quest of trying to get his memory back and all of this, and it just wasn't as fascinating to me. It fell flat, and I was disappointed with it. So I'm not surprised they're making it. I think that's a strategic position for it, even though it is getting a little crowded. But there is a demand for it. People still really love this franchise. And the one thing going for it, in my opinion, is Justin Lin, because I really do love what he did with the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really smart move for him to stay in action, but to go, a little more character heavy, a little less crazy stunts, a little more realistic, we'll call it. So yeah, I do think this is strategic. I like him as a director. I do like all of that, but the last film left me it was a little lackluster in my opinion.
Aaron?
I'm worried about this film. I gotta admit, this is gonna be one crowded summer at the movie theaters, and I'm a little bit worried about how this will stack up compared to the big heavy hitters that we're all looking forward to. However, I feel like the studio might be going in a different direction, because the only way I think a film like this can compete with all the big blockbusters we're getting is if they go a little bit under budget than what we're expecting, resulting in a different type of film entirely.
That's certainly an option. One of the things you got to keep in mind too here is that, look, Bourne Legacy did okay. It made $270-something million at the box office. Did okay. It was like a $125 million budget, so it barely made some money when you take everything in consideration. But the Bourne film immediately preceding it, the Bourne Ultimatum, made $447 million. You got like almost a 50% drop. So I got to be honest with you. When they first started whispering about Bourne 5, I was thinking there were some rumors about maybe Matt Damon and Jeremy Renner together in the film, which storyline-wise, it makes sense. And that sounds intriguing, really exciting. I actually didn't mind Bourne Legacy. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it.
It's okay.
I didn't jump up and down for it. I didn't go out and see it again, but I thought it was all right. To do another one, though, just with the Aaron Cross character, not having Bourne back, maybe they got secret plans that they're not telling us. Maybe this is another Benedict Cumberbatch Khan situation, and Matt Damon's actually coming back. But I don't see this as a smart move, especially when you look at that almost 50% drop in interest in it. I don't know where they're going with this, Dennis.
Yeah, I think the placement in the summer of 2015 isn't really a good move, but I liked Bourne Legacy. It wasn't as good as the Matt Damon ones, but I still liked it, and I'm interested, with Justin Lin doing it. I think that hopefully will bring something fresh and new to it. I don't know if they're going to go more big budgety because of his Fast and the Furious experience, but people forget that Justin Lin actually used to do indie dramas before.
Right.
I actually met him when I was in film school. He screened his indie drama comedy Yellow at my school, and so he actually, before the Fast and Furious franchise, was more into that type of stuff. So maybe he'll bring a little of that to this new Bourne movie.
All right, well, we've reached that part of the show called Buy or Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Chris Lee's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then Dennis, Aaron, and Amy Rose and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Chris Lee, what do we got?
The upcoming Mad Max Fury Road recently announced a release date in the summer of 2015, and in a recent interview, director George Miller revealed that they have already begun screening an early cut of the film for some test audiences, and that the results have been very good. Miller also revealed that the rumor of Mel Gibson making a cameo appearance in the film are false. Dennis, buy or sell Miller's remarks?
I buy them not because I'm saying that it's true, that Mel Gibson isn't going to make a cameo, but there's nothing else he can say. He either says, yeah, the rumors are false and he really isn't going to be in the movie, or it's a surprise cameo, so he wants to keep it secret. So either way, he's not really going to reveal it. He's going to say this no matter what.
I'm going to sell this on both accounts, saying, yeah, we tested for audiences. Very good. Really? Really, George? I don't know if I buy it. Plus, they're right in the middle of reshooting a whole bunch of new scenes right now. What cut of this film did you show to test audiences? And if he's telling the truth, and I'm going to go on blind faith that he's telling the truth, that there's no Mel Gibson cameo. In that case, that's a mistake. I think with the connection between Mel Gibson and Mad Max, the fact that Gibson worked with George in the original films, the very fact that Mel Gibson is starting, I think we're on the cusp of a little bit of a Mel Gibson resurgence. Maybe just a little bit of a one. Now, with especially the Expendables coming out, I think he's going to surprise and entertain a lot of people with Expendables.
Was it the Beaver? Did that get him back for you?
That might have been. He was good in the Beaver.
You and the other 3 people that saw
Me
it.
and the 3 other people who saw the Beaver, we thought he was pretty good in the Beaver.
Gosh.
So for me, I'm going to sell these comments, Aaron.
You know what? I'm a little bit disappointed to hear this, that he is apparently not going to make a cameo. But you know what? If you can't have Mel, I think Tom Hardy's a pretty good second. You can't really do much better. So I'm going to go ahead and buy this.
Still the cameo. Amy
You know what?
Rose.
It's not going to ruin my life if I don't get the cameo.
It will ruin my life, damn it. Okay, Amy
While
Rose.
it won't ruin my life, I think it's a mistake. I'm going to sell this fast and hard, as you would say it, John. Mel Gibson made this character who he is. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to not have a cameo. Mel certainly needs the good publicity. He continues, while he might be getting back in the public's eye, he's got some work to do.
Lots of work to do.
I really just think that it's a mistake, and I do kind of agree with you, Dennis. I don't think they would reveal it, but why don't you? I mean, this film has been, other than reshoots and Tom Hardy, Elton John, Bane in it, like, I feel like they need some publicity, and you're right. Like, if you're still shooting it, what film did you show to them? I mean, they like the general premise and the feel, and I think Tom Hardy's going to do a great job as well. But Mel, I mean, get him a cameo one way or another. I think it'd be a mistake. I really do.
All right.
Legendary Pictures is planning to develop a biopic of legendary Green Bay Packers head coach Vince Lombardi. According to reports, the studio has tapped Margin Call and All Is Lost Helmer J.C. Chandar to write and possibly direct the film as well. Another Lombardi biopic, tentatively titled Lombardi, was announced in 2010. That film, which features a script by Eric Roth, is still in development with Robert De Niro attached to play the coach. Aaron, buy or sell Legendary's production, a Vince Lombardi biopic?
I'm definitely going to sell this. I think it's a mistake to go up against a project that already has De Niro attached. And Eric Roth, hello, he wrote Forrest Gump. This is an amazing screenwriter. I really don't see why Legendary is picking up this project when there's already a competing one that's in development currently. So it doesn't make much sense to me. I'm going to sell it.
Dennis?
Yeah, I'm going to sell it as well for the same reasons. And also remember, when 2 movies come out, Capote and Infamous,
right,
both about Truman Capote, obviously one overshadowed the other. One got Oscar nominated, I think, Philip Seymour Hoffman won.
Yeah.
And then you had Infamous, which I actually watched and liked. It wasn't as good as Capote, but it was a decent movie, but it got totally overshadowed and no one watched it, and most people saw it on DVD. So I don't see the reason why we need 2 Vince Lombardi movies. One is good enough.
Rose?
Oh yeah, I'm selling this as well. First of all, Robert De Niro, well done. You are taking good steps to get back with your career. I feel like there were a couple films there. Silver Linings really got him back again.
Couple of films, like 10 years.
Okay.
Of mailing
I was
it
being
in.
kind because De Niro still lives in my heart. All right, good fellas, come on. But I do think that, yeah, I mean, this happens all the time in Hollywood. The same general premise and storyline back to back, and one's always going to be better. That's just how it goes. Hopefully they're split in audiences, but Robert De Niro, screenwriter, everything about that seems like the Lombardi project I want to see. So I don't think Legendary should move forward with this, but they're going to.
I'm going to buy it. And the reason I'm going to buy it is for 2 very specific reasons. Number one, absolutely do a Vince Lombardi thing. Because Vince Lombardi is not just a football figure. I mean, what this dude has done is taught in leadership courses in business schools across the world.
Yeah.
I mean, what this guy did was just nothing short. He is revered as a god in many ways. There needs to be a movie about him. Robert De Niro, Roth doing a Lombardi movie, hey, that all sounds good. They announced it 3 years ago. 3 years ago. In the words of my father, crap or get off the pot. I mean, how long is every other studio supposed to sit around and wait for Robert De Niro to do his Lombardi? Which, by the way, I would run out right now if a Robert De Niro, Vince Lombardi movie was out, I would go. But they announced it in 2010. It's still not even announced to begin production. Go ahead, Legend. Yeah, take a shot at it. They're not going to do anything with it. Somebody's got to do something with it.
And this will be the jobs of 2015.
Maybe.
For over a year leading up to the release of the most recent Star Trek film, Star Trek Into Darkness, director J.J. Abrams firmly denied that actor Benedict Cumberbatch was playing the villain Khan. Now, the director seemed to regret that decision. In a recent interview, Abrams said the following: "The truth is, I think it probably would have been smarter just to say up front, this is who it is. I was only trying to preserve the fun of it, and it might have given more time to acclimate and accept that's what things was." John, buy or sell Abrams regretting the Khan denials?
Oh, I buy it. I buy it. You think it was a mistake? You think? I've never understood their philosophy in hiding Khan. Khan, as an individual character, is the most beloved villain in all of Star Trek lore. I mean, the Klingons collectively, obviously, but as an individual, it's Khan. He was a great marketing tool with Benedict Cumberbatch playing it. You announce he's playing Khan, you celebrate he's playing Khan, and you market the hell out of it. And they didn't. They tried to play this game of no, 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 and I got so many hate emails from everybody telling me what a dumbass I was when JJ denied it. Said, I don't care if JJ denies it, he's playing Khan, we all know it, and sure enough he was. It was a stupid move. They should have capitalized on the marketing goldmine they had in front of them. There's no point in denying it. We all knew it. And I'm glad that JJ's actually the type of guy who will come out and say, yeah, my bad, made a mistake. And I'm kind of glad that he does that. So I buy it. Amy Rose?
Yeah, how many months were we talking about this? So many months leading up to it. And then that EW cover leaked it.
I remember that.
And it's like, it's Khan. Oh, wait, let's retract
Captain
it.
Kirk
It's
and
not
Khan.
Khan. It's just, I think that it was just so silly. So yeah, I'm buying that he has enough pride and humility. That is such an amazing quality in a director that is as respected as JJ. And I really do love him. And I did love both of the Star Trek films. I thought they were really
too.
great.
Loved them.
But with a figure like Khan that is so beloved in this universe, you want to market on that. You can keep it a secret for the first couple months, sure. But once the cat's out of the bag, you don't go, no, it's not. It's this Harrison fellow. You capitalize on that. So we thought that was pretty stupid. We talked about it for months, and I really do respect the man even more for saying, yep, not bad.
And you know what? You know what Zack Snyder should do? Zack Snyder should go to the school of J.J. Abrams' School of Film. And what he should do is say, okay, we're doing this Man of Steel 2, and Ben Affleck is playing a guy named Billy. Not Batman.
Oh my
Not
God.
Batman. Don't tell people
Billy.
it's Batman, because people might get excited if it's Batman. I mean, that's essentially what he did here, Dennis.
Yeah, I buy the comments as well. I'm glad that he's able to look back and reflect on it and admit that he was wrong about it. Because what happened was there was so much backlash about, I mean, besides the the hardcore Trekkies about the movie, but there was a backlash from even some of the film critics about this secret they had been keeping, and that the focus wasn't on the movie anymore. It was about how they marketed it and how this was this really dumb hidden secret. And instead of looking at the movie, which I thought was a lot of fun, it was actually one of my favorite movies this year, I think instead of focusing on that, they focused on the wrong thing. And J.J. Abrams has made a career out of doing a lot of mystery stuff, Alias, Super 8, Lost, and stuff like that. And so I think he was trying to do that with this. And I don't think Star Trek is the right franchise, or even Star Wars is the right type of thing to do those kind of mystery box things that he's used to.
Aaron?
I'm going to buy this as well for all the reasons detailed by you lovely people at the table. I think he regrets the hell out of this, and I think he's been being sincere that he kind of made a mistake here. But I can't wait for EW to release a cover of the Klingons for Star Trek 3 and say, oh, wait, it's not the Klingons.
It's not the Klingons.
No.
It's the Garden Gnomes. It's the Garden Gnomes, not Klingons. And, the other thing, too, is I'm glad you brought up the JJ's history of how he likes to be secretive.
Misdirection,
You know what? That's a totally nice approach and a smart approach for a movie like Cloverfield.
Yes.
Super small budget movie that you want to get some attention for, so you pull this big mystery thing, and it pulls in a decent box office
Even
numbers.
Super 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not what you do for a major franchise property like Star Trek.
No.
That was a mistake, and quite frankly, the only mistake he made was that Star Trek movie, because I love Star Trek Into Darkness.
Me too.
I think JJ's done a great job with that franchise. I just wish they were smarter about how they marketed the whole Khan thing. All right, folks, listen, before we get into Mailbag, I want to remind you that there is a brand new movie opening in AMC theaters this week called Out of the Furnace with Christian Bale, Casey Affleck, Woody Harrelson. It's a great cast. Now, I had the the hard task of telling Chrysalie that she can go and talk to these guys. So I want to share with just a little bit of Chrysalie's conversation with the star of Out of the Furnace, Christian Bale. Take a look.
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're one of the actors that I've grown up watching, from
great.
Swing Kids to
Appreciate it.
Newsies all the way to now. And one of the things that I respect about you and your work is that you're extremely selective about your roles and who you choose to portray on screen. So I have to ask the most obvious question of what was it about Out of the Furnace that really spoke to you?
Well, first off, listen, you've got to be in a position where you're fortunate enough to be able to be selective. You know, this is, after all, what I do for a living. And there are many times when you're in dire straits and you need a job and you need it quickly, and you do not have the luxury of being particularly picky. Nowadays, I do, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And this was just a story that just hypnotized me. I liked Scott. I liked Crazy Heart. I liked the fact that Scott said to me, I'm the only actor he'll make this film with, and he meant it. I said, I can't make it. I don't have the time. And I assumed he would move on to other actors. Most directors do. And then I called him to say, hey, how you doing? How's the film going? Who did you cast? And he said, what were you talking about? I didn't cast anybody. I said it would be you. And there's not many people who stick to their guns in that manner. Like I said, he's got a family, he's got to feed them, you know, he really should have been moving on. And I said, wow, all right, the guy impresses me. Let's do this. We've got a very short little window, but let's get it done. And it's just, it's a great story. The character is a wonderful story. A man who just endlessly does the right thing, is a decent man, but who nothing ever comes right for, you know, and he's eternally seeing his life and his town falling apart, and then it's the descent of a decent man into retribution and violence after a life of doing the right thing and being the patriarch.
The loyalty he shows in this film is beyond what most people would do in their everyday lives.
Yeah.
And you were able to portray
It's
that perfectly.
beyond what most people would do, but you know what? I think there's an awful lot of people who would behave the same way that Russell would. We just don't hear about them.
It's true. I wish we did hear more about them, because this story, I think, will touch everyone's heart that sees it. So we can't wait to have it on AMC screens everywhere.
Great,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Out of the Furnace opens in AMC theaters everywhere this week. Head on over right now to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. Good job, Chrysalie, once again.
Good job, Chrysalie.
Well, folks, it's that time of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you would like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, every single day we take a couple of questions out of the mailbag. Chrysalie's got a few of them pulled out. So, Chrysalie, what do we got?
Nathan writes, greetings and salutations from Israel. I'll make it simple. Do you think we get to hear the Imperial March at Star Wars 7? The Empire has been defeated, but maybe JJ will find a way to put it back in. Maybe this will be the Sith theme. Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
For those of you who don't know, and shame on you if you don't, the Imperial March, basically it's the national anthem of the Galactic Empire. So that's why you hear it at the thing. And it is, unabashedly, the single greatest piece of music ever composed for the medium of film. It is the most iconic, memorable, catchy, awesome piece of music ever. And it, done by the same guy who happened to give us the Superman theme and the Indiana Jones theme and, thousands of others. Just my favorite thing ever. Look, if you read some of the books, and remember, this new Star Wars film is not beholden to the books. The books are not canon. They don't have to follow them, so keep that in mind. But in the books following Return of the Jedi, you remember, the Galactic Empire ruled millions of star systems. So just because the Empire was defeated, they still, in the books, controlled certain areas of space. So the Empire still exists, just much smaller and much less control. So it is possible, going into the new Star Wars Episode 7, that the Empire still exists in some form, just not the dominant governing body of the galaxy anymore, and maybe the Imperial March still exists. I don't think they'll make it into a Sith theme, because that's completely not what the Imperial March is. If it doesn't make sense for the story, don't have it there. I will cry a small tear that it's not there, but I will say, if it doesn't fit into the story, if you don't have the Empire present, and they don't have to, then don't have it there. But if the Empire's there in any way, play it, and I will weep like a freaking baby. If I'm sitting in a movie theater and the Imperial March starts to play, I'm going to cry. I'm simply going to cry. Anyway, Amy Rose, what do you think?
It's gotta be there, John. It's gotta be there. They will have the Empire there. They will. It will. It's just impossible not to include that, especially for this new generation. And to get the prequels bad taste out of our mouth, it's gonna happen. And by the way, if I was clever, I would have had my sister call me now because that is her ringtone when she calls me.
Oh, really?
Yes. So just know, isn't she lucky? That is just such an iconic, perfectly constructed piece of music.
Yeah.
When I hear it, I get goosebumps.
Yes!
It's so special and magical, and I think JJ, because he loves this franchise so much, is going to find a way to work it in. So that's what I'm thinking.
Dennis?
I think JJ should make the story something different than the Empire, but at the end of the movie, after the credits, just like Marvel, they have an after credit scene that has the remnants of the Empire, like some new leader coming up, and they play that theme.
Thrawn. Okay, anyway, sorry, Aaron?
I don't think we'll be seeing this theme song, unfortunately. I don't think they'll be reappropriating it to someone else. However, I might have to differ with you on the whole, this is the best piece of music ever written, because I don't know if you've seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh, yes.
But Morris Day and the Time wrote Jungle Love, which was passed down from heaven above, given to them to present to us.
Doesn't matter.
So.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All right. What's next?
Michael Martinez writes, "Hi guys, this has been bothering me for the longest time, but I was wondering why a sequel to Freddy vs. Jason was never made. While the movie started out like most slasher films, I felt like the two battles that were put into the movie were very well done. It was insanely gory and I love it all. What happened? P.S. I know Friday the 13th is now with Universal, which to be honest makes me very sad, as we will never get to see the two icons clash again."
Actually, I think Friday the 13th is with Paramount now. I think they went to Paramount. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it's Paramount. Either way, they've changed hands. Good question. Freddy vs. Jason to me was a movie that disappointed me because I was so excited about it. It's not terrible. It's not bad. And I know some people that really, really like it, and that's fine. That's great. But the bottom line is, it made some money. It didn't do bad. If I'm not mistaken, I think it made more at the box office than any Freddy or any Jason film in history. Could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it worked out. It made some money, not a huge blockbuster.
For a horror movie, especially.
Yeah, especially for a horror movie, but it made some money. In 2007, they were looking at doing a sequel. They were starting to put a sequel together, and there were two different approaches they were taking with it. One was going to be Freddy versus Jason versus Michael, because they were going to work Michael Myers into it. And the other, which was the one that had more traction, the one I was really excited about, was Freddy versus Jason versus Ash from The Evil Dead. And they were going to have Bruce Campbell in there.
Ash wins.
And that got me super excited. And then we just didn't hear anything. And eventually, like the Ring of Power, it faded into myth. And it just kind of disappeared, and now it's gone. But I know in 2007, they were looking at it. They were talking about a 2009 release date. And it just never came to fruition. We're probably never going to see it. But, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Don't even play with my emotions,
anyway,
John.
Amy Rose, what have you heard?
Yeah, I am kind of surprised because, like you said, it did make money, especially for a horror film. Yeah. I mean, we talk about this all the time, how there's not, while there's a demand, I'm a diehard horror movie junkie. I love it. I love the adrenaline. I love experiencing it with an audience. It's so much fun. And this film, while it wasn't a perfect film, it was kind of ridiculous, I still loved it because two of the most iconic, characters in my horror movie heart on the big screen together. Now, throw Ash in the mix. Stop it. Oh. Stop it. Oh. Throw Jason, who happens to be my favorite out of the three. Stop it. So I'm really disappointed to hear that they're not picking up steam, because I think that would have been a brilliant move. I mean, even if you have one fan of all three of the franchises together, I mean, that has the potential of making some money right there as well. So I'm disappointed. I don't think they're going to keep making Halloween. They're going to keep making so many of these other films, but I don't think we're going to get a lot more face-offs right out of the bat.
Especially with the way the movie rights are right now.
Yeah,
Aaron?
exactly.
I think we should get a Sinister Six of all of the great villains of horror and put them all together and just let's Marvel Civil War it. Or,
that would be actually
Or Marvel Zombies it and just zombify everyone.
Throw some vampires in there. Let's get cray.
Maybe an alien abduction or something. Let's just get crazy.
Yeah, it made some money. I think it only cost like $30 million or
less.
Make,
yeah,
and it made
cheap.
over 100, I think, worldwide. Yeah. So I'm surprised they didn't go ahead on a sequel. I read that recently, and take this with a grain of salt because it's the creator of the Friday the 13th series. But an interview recently, he said that he thought that they were going to make a Freddy versus Jason 2, and that it was down the line. But this is someone that probably financially and career-wise benefits from something like this. Yes, so I'm not saying that's a fact. It's just he's hoping. So I don't know. I don't know. It made that much money off of so little of a budget. I just think that someone's going to decide to take that risk.
Well, rights
again.
will have to change hands at some point. But remember, this isn't like Marvel characters, right? Because we're always talking about how, look, no, you're not going to see Spider-Man and the Avengers. No one's going to give up the rights to their characters, blah, blah, blah. This is a little bit different.
Yeah.
You know, Freddy and Jason aren't put a movie out with Freddy, instant $300 million box office.
Yeah.
It's not Spider-Man. So it's very possible in the next 5 years we could see some rights change hands. It's possible. But I'm telling you, when it comes to team-up, mash-up versus movies, after Batman versus Superman, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. That's what I want. Like, oh my God.
Stop saying.
Okay, let's get to the last question today.
Hold on, I have to take my earplugs out because all the Freddy Jason stuff,
Was it scaring you?
nightmares are made out of.
Chrisley,
So
I
I'm
always
glad
hold
this
your
one's
hand in
over.
those movies. Come on.
Kyle Cox writes, how's it going, AMC Movie Talk? This question is for John. The other day you said you were into MMA and martial arts. Do you think anyone in the UFC can be the next Jet Li or Jackie Chan, like Lyoto Machida or Yoshihiro Akiyama? Thanks and keep up the good work.
First of all, Chris Lee, amazing job saying those names. Well, these are not easy ones. Of course, Yoshihiro Akiyama, of course, known better as Sexy Yama. He's actually a really hell of an entertainment fighter. Yeah, one of my passions is MMA. I've been involved in whatever for mixed martial arts for like 15 years. Actually, there's a picture up behind us here. My hero is actually Randy the Natural Couture, also known as Captain America, former UFC light heavyweight champion, UFC heavyweight champion. I had the privilege of training at his gym for a couple years. Look how skinny I am in that picture. Look how skinny I am in that picture. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, that was back when I was still in full-blown training mode, which obviously I'm not anymore. But I got to get back to that. And now, of course, you got Randy has moved from the UFC into movies. Of course, he was in Scorpion King 2. But he's also been in the Expendable movies and is going to be in Expendables 3, which I think he's really great in. But here's the challenge. You mentioned guys in your email like Jet Li and Jackie Chan. The era has changed. Guys like Lyoto Machida, Yoshihiro, these are guys who English is not really their strong suit. I think gone is the day where you could have a completely talentless person. If they're a great martial artist or whatever, you can still put them in a movie and do something with it. There was an era for that. But even today, even guys like The Rock now are legit actors. Like, not an Oscar-winning actor, but a legit actor.
Solid.
He's getting better and better and better. Like, he's no longer just all charisma. He can actually, he's been working hard, getting training with coaches and everything, and now he's a legit actor. Guys like Lyoto, Sexyama, I mean, Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre. Well, George St. Pierre is going to be in Captain America too, so that's going to be interesting. I just don't think we're in an era right now where that type of a transition can happen. Maybe as a gag and maybe as a fun little thing like putting George in as Bartok the Leaper in Captain America 2, which is who he's going to be. Maybe you can do stuff like that, but become like an action star or whatever. I don't think we're in an era where that really can happen with guys who are actually not actors whatsoever and really struggle with the English language. That would be tough.
Gina Carano's not a good actress. They're throwing her in the mix. Ronda Rousey is about to be in the film.
But Ronda Rousey's been put in once again as a little, much like a George St. Pierre character, right? A side, small character kind of for novelty's sake. The Gina Carano thing,
they are pushing her hard.
They're trying to push her hard.
And I still love her, but
hasn't
the
really
woman can
worked.
act.
I mean, it hasn't. She was bad in Fast and Furious 6. It was still fun watching her kick ass.
Yeah, it was fun watching her fight, just not
were
really.
silly.
Yeah.
Just don't speak.
They kept her lines down to a minimum.
Good.
And she's got, I mean, hey, maybe she's doing what The Rock did. Maybe she's training with acting coaches. She's going to do that for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and we'll see her get better. And then maybe at some point she'll be a legit actress. Right now she's not. I still just have fun watching her kick ass in movies. I mean, it's just, that's the way it is.
And she's not so hard on the eyes either.
And she's a beautiful woman.
Channing Tatum, but they held him from hitting the market for a while because he was just a pretty face.
But he was a stripper, not MMA.
Well,
Just saying.
Well,
I guess I'm just Googling pictures of Sekiyama right now. So,
Sexy-yama.
That's a good nickname.
Isn't that that and the Korean zombie? I think are my two favorite nicknames.
I didn't hear that.
My two favorite nicknames in the UFC, Sexy-yama and the Korean zombie. All right, folks, listen, we have run all out of time. Thank you so much for joining us here on AMC Movie Talk. I want to thank, first of all, those joining me at the table sitting to my immediate left. She's, of course, the editor of movie news at AMC Movie News, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Amy Rose, where can people find you online?
On Twitter at Amy Rosie, and I'll be in New York until next week, so I'll miss you guys.
Our entertainment correspondent, Erin Darling. Erin, where can people find you online?
Twitter, Erin A. Darling, Facebook, Erin Darling fan page, and YouTube, Erin Ashley D.
Production manager of AMC Movie News, Mr. Dennis Zen. Dennis?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero and on YouTube, ThinkHeroPro.
And, of course, AMC Movie Talk's host, Miss Chris Lee Kennedy. Chris Lee, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Chris Lee and go to Tumblr and follow the movie chick.
Wonder Woman.
And you can just follow me on the various social media networks just at John Campia. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Listen, don't forget, if you haven't done so already, take a second and click on the subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. Keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news. And, of course, our weekend AMC Mailbag show. Also, listen, if you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video, and you'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.